Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to continue our topic of macromolecules, and today I'm going to be talking about proteins. So proteins are so essential to the human body, especially to the cells. They make up about 10 to 20% of your cell's mass. They have different functions such as structural enzymes with muscles. And the monomers, which means your subunit, will be amino acids. So I have the little train car here again, showing you that each of these train cars are monomers, which represent an amino acid. All proteins are made from one of the 20 types of amino acids, and they're different by their R group. So if you're going to see here, we have an amino acid here with the R. The R are the stuff that you can change interchangeably, and this will give you basically a new amino acid. And just like with the other macromolecules, when you combine two monomers together, and you combine two monomers together, you do that through dehydration synthesis, and what you end up getting will be a dipeptide, a whole product. And if you want to reverse that, because we do know that in biology, chemical reactions are theoretically reversible, okay, in theory. So if you now have this macromolecule, or a polymer rather, you want to revert it back to amino acids, the two amino acids, you're going to do that through hydrolysis. So there are 7 main functions of proteins. Now let's take a look at each of them. So these are not in any particular order or anything like that, but the first one we're going to be looking at would be structural proteins. So they're really used for mechanical support. An example of that would be collagen. You find collagen in almost all connective tissues like bones, tendons, ligaments, skin, and they're the ones that give that tensile strong strength, all right? And they are considered to be the most abundant in the body because they're basically seen almost everywhere. This collagen is what gives this baby that supple tone, the supple skin. They have really great collagen. And I have here a picture of the bone too, working out the fact that you can carry something so heavy and your bones does not get crushed under that weight. That's also due to proteins. The second type would be enzymes. All right, enzymes are catalysts. If you remember the other video where I talked about catalysts are special proteins. They speed up, or we say catalyze, a reaction. And the way they do this is, in decreasing the activation energy. I'm going to have another video where I'm going to talk just on enzymes, and be sure to check out or look out for that. But enzymes are proteins. They are essential for every chemical reaction in the body. So even though, we're talking about the dehydration synthesis, hydrolysis, and so on, enzymes help those those reactants get to the product level. All right. And the way you're going to know that something's an enzyme is that it's going to end in what we call ACE, or ASE, lactase, sucrase, protease, and the list goes on. All right. And here we have an example like liver enzyme tests, when they are checking for someone's liver activity, like what's really going on in the liver, the test you're going to do will be a liver enzyme test. The next one we're going to talk about are transport proteins. And what we have here, example, in blood, all right, hemoglobin is an example we have here. It transports oxygen in blood. We all know that blood is so important, but the main thing about blood is to carry oxygen, all right? Transportation. So these transport proteins, they move substances not only in blood, not only do we see it in blood, even for ions or electrolytes to get into the cell, going in or out of the cell, they're going to do that through transport proteins. The other type of protein are going to be contractile proteins. These are needed for movement. When we get to the muscle, I'm going to be talking about actin and myosin. These two proteins actually cause muscle cell contraction. Another function of proteins will be communication, right? They help to communicate. And the example here will be hormones. Yes, all the hormones are proteins, made up of proteins. So they help to transmit signals between cells, and sometimes they act as chemical messengers. An example of a hormone is going to be insulin. So the next one, the last one, is going to be defensive. Proteins are make a huge portion of our defense mechanisms in our body by protecting us against diseases, and antibodies are a type of proteins that do that. They're released by immune cells, and I feel like because of COVID, everyone now kind of has some basic science knowledge. You kind of are forced to learn about your bodies, because we have this pandemic going on. So monoclonal antibodies have been there before COVID, and now the most common antibody now that everybody's talking about is COVID-19 antibody, again helping to fight diseases. I'm going to be talking about antibodies and antigens when we get to the lymphatic and immune system. And the last thing about proteins will be their shape and structure. So they have four structures or shape. And the first one is a primary structure, which goes in the linear format. And the second, which is a secondary structure, there are two types that you're going to find here. They come in either an alpha helix, kind of like a spiral staircase, or they come in the beta pleated sheets, kind of like pleats, like a pleated skirt or pleated pants. All right. So it's either or. But when you get to the tertiary is a mixture of both. All right, a mixture of both alpha helix and beta pleated sheets. And then when you get to the quaternary structure, it gets a little bit more complex, and that's more of a 3D format where you have a combination of almost all the structures in one. So that concludes the topic of proteins, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.